Okay, so good morning, everyone. Once again, thank you so much for being a part of this program today and joining with us. My name is Shahan Kumar. In case you don't know me, I am the Chief Executive Officer of FITIS, the Federation of IT Industry. Thank you so much. I know it's a Saturday. You'd rather be at home with your family, or since the curfew has been lifted, you might be uh, roaming around the streets in a safe way. But we are really thankful that you're able to join with us this morning because this is an initiative of national importance. As you know, FITIS has aligned with the national agenda of creating a digitally transformed Sri Lanka. And we are really glad that we have such an eminent panel of judges who are going to help us do this. So I will not take much of your time because we have some important presentations coming up. So I would like to hand over the proceedings now to Mr. Fairuz Habib, who is actually the main driver behind all this. Fairuz has been tirelessly working towards achieving all the goals and targets. It's been pretty challenging. This is the first time we are having this in Sri Lanka. So, there's a mindset changing that has to be done as well in certain areas. But Fairuz and the team have been really working hard at this. Fairuz is also the president of the FITIS software chapter. They're doing a lot of initiatives in transforming Sri Lanka digitally. So I would like to now hand over the proceedings to Fairuz. Fairuz, over to you.
Thank you, Shahan. Thank you, everyone. I can't mention the name here because there are 80 plus names that I have to call, and there are almost 25, closer to 25 people have joined already. Thank you very much, everyone, for joining, especially on a weekend. I understand. I personally feel how much we're losing because during this pandemic, everyone is busy, without a time limit. So we're all eagerly waiting for that. I took your time, but it's a largest initiative that everybody is commitment contributor. Thank you very much. Now we are doing this for about last closer to 1 year or so. Now finally we have reached a point where we can go out. We have called the applications, and now we are moving into the stage of judging process. Thank you very much for joining the FITIS Digital Excellence Awards and Conclave. The theme of this event is the migration of enterprise from Industry 3.0 to 4.0, ultimately to reach the goal of digitally transform Sri Lanka. This event is going to happen, the award ceremony and the conclave, the Digital Leaders Conclave is going to happen on 30th November. So let me take you through some brief about this event firstly. I'm going to share this document with you, therefore I prepared everything so that you will have a clear understanding about what we do and what are we going to achieve and all that. So just to give you a heads up that this Digital Excellence Award is to honor the achievement of organization who has successfully planned, executed, and currently migrating from Industry 3.0 to 4.0 to the digital transformation. So this we have prepared this, we came up with this concept of, it is actually derived from various analysts and also especially derived from the cognition framework that we came up with, because every analyst is talking about four major dimensions, which is customer, the product and services, the operation, and the organization. Those are the four dimensions that which involve in terms of entire organization-wise transformation, digital transformation. So our entire event, Digital Leaders Conclave, as well as Transformation Award, we are aligned with that. Wanted to bring in 800 plus local and foreign delegates to this event, where we can guide and assist them towards how the digital transformation journey can be built upon. And this award ceremony is the place where we are going to assess the current achievement and guide them towards how they can improve better and all that. As I mentioned, the objective is to guide and assist the enterprises to migrate from Industry 3.0 to 4.0, and understanding the importance difference of being digital and doing digital, and how this can help them towards digitization, as well as to support in the country's vision of knowledge-based economy. Here's the framework that we came up with. This is adopted or derived from Cognizant framework. As I mentioned, the four major dimensions, as you can see, under each four dimensions, there are two subcategories. So these are our award categories. The main, which is customer experience. Under that, the omnichannel experience and digital marketing strategy. Likewise, the every categories out here are the main as well as subcategories, which has been evaluated. The same digital excellence awards as well as the conclave, digital leaders conclave, where we are going to bring in that the experts to cover those topics. Just to give you some heads up on each category, that what are we looking at. So the small description is given for you all to have a better understanding. And the awards, especially what we are going to do today, here they recognize the business enterprises that they have adopted the digital technologies and how they transform to become an exponential organization. So it is not something that we are going to assess a product or specific project, but the transformation initiative. Through this, we are going to give them opportunity for the private and public sector to showcase their transformation achievements. And this assessment of process is derived from the digital maturity using FITI's digital excellence framework. So we have put on a lot of effort on with the support of all industry leaders out here. A lot of time and energy has been spent behind this to come up with that assessment criteria. And then we also developed a detailed questionnaire survey. We will be covering up with one or two examples towards later part of the session. This process, the whole process will help you assess your digital maturity using FITI's digital excellence framework. And that can also give you the assistance towards transformation plan. Then it can help you realign or new investment in technologies and business models and processes to drive the exponential growth. So since the participants are the users, not the digital transformation enablers or the IT service companies or the implementation or the system integrators, I'll come to that, who can apply under which category. But this award is mainly focused on the user part of it, point of view, rather than recognizing the software development companies, but the users who has adopted and who is making the tool to transform their organization. Therefore, it is an opportunity for the software companies or the IT companies organization to get more opportunities to work with them, because this is going to be a continuous 3 to 5, at least it will happen for next 3 to 5 years in the similar fashion, where we are going to see that how the organizations are making the progress from this year. They may be recognized at the merit level, how they can move to the bronze next year, or whether they are looking at silver. So they knew that after this assessment, they knew where is the gap and how they can meet that to reach that place. Because this is going to be fully transparent process, and most of the time they will see how they are going to be assessed. It's a self-assessment. They are going to put the score for them. So that part will be covered during the next session, because we are going to show that giving them freedom. Okay, this is your question. Tell us, where are you right now? And then towards end of the assessment, we are going to tell them, guide them how they can push it to the next level. So here the entries will be evaluated by the based on the business and community impact, rather than just the achievement of how they have developed the product, how massively it's working and all that. What is the impact to the community or their business? So that is one of the main criteria that we are going to assess it. And the judges, of course, I'll be displaying the judges for each category that you will have. So industry vertical we want to cover, but right now this time we are not looking at from the industry perspective, because it's end of the day digital transformation initiative. It is common for, but however we have We are considering giving the freedom for the judging panel to decide on the corporate IT awards, whether to recognize them under the industry segment. That part I will come to that later, because there is a small clause that I want to discuss with the committee. Now, these are the categories. Now, as you can see, this is mapping in line with our digital excellence framework. So, digitized customer experience, they have two subcategories: digital marketing strategy and omnichannel experience. How we are allowing the customer to or the applicant to participate for this competition, either they can apply under the main category. In that case, their application will be evaluated for digital marketing strategy and omni-channel experience, and then combined results will be the overall digitized customer experience. I'll repeat again. When an organization applying for digitized customer experience category, the main category, their application will be evaluated for digital marketing strategy and omni-channel experience separately, and the combined overall average marks will be considered for the digitized customer experience. Or they can choose only one subcategory, either digital marketing strategy or omni-channel experience, and then their application will be considered for only that particular category. Similarly, all four categories out here are same. Product and services, we have connected product and services, as well as the business model innovation, operation, organization. Then when it comes to digitally mature organization, where it's more or less, we are using a different assessment criteria for these main categories as well as subcategories. We are using the digital maturity assessment, but we have prepared that for based on in line with industry best practices and by referring to various similar forums and knowledge articles, and especially we were going through the industry recommendation as well as the academic references. So it is mix of both, because what we have seen so far, the gap is we take the drive and all of a sudden we lose control or we just lose focus because we couldn't go beyond the certain level. That part is mainly due to the lack of academic flavors incorporated into this. So we have to look at from the both angle how we can practically implement it, as well as what sort of framework knowledge that they have been gained. So and for the digitally mature organization and born digital organization, where we are using this a 5-stage model, and of course here also we are derived from the 5-stage model, but this has been completely customized, and these two Dushi will be explaining about one category, and out of here Dr. Dhanushka will be covering that how are we going to do the assessment for these categories. So there will be 2 examples will be done during today's session. So corporate IT awards, we are not going to do the detailed assessment or survey, but it is based on the assessment criteria. Those criteria are already published on the website, digitalexcellenceaward.ht website. If you go there, even now you can see that. Right, this is the important part, how the judging process is going to happen. Now, the whole judging process is going to be virtual. There will be 2-stage judging process. Stage 1 will be assessing your application response and the self-assessment survey. So the application, when we call the application, we have given set of questions, and that questions will be, there are 7 to 8 questions I can probably show you. I'm sure some of you would have gone through it, but you will receive those application response from the from the application category that you are going to assess it. And now we have received those applications. By Monday, we are planning to issue the detailed questionnaire, which is a survey. That survey response, they have to submit it before 15. That also I'll be discussing about the timeline. And then with that survey response, they have to submit a 7-minute video recording as well. So those are the 3 items that the stage 1 assessment is going to contain. So there is no face-to-face meeting. There is no interaction with the applicant during the stage 1 of the assessment process. So there's no self-assessment survey for corporate IT awards. And stage 2 will be face-to-face interview. This is, again, it can be virtual or it can be physical, depends on the country situation. Judging process, as I mentioned, we will be starting on 19th October, and award ceremony will be on 30th November. And master plan, which covers all these activities given in the FITIS assessment process. And this award structure and the processes defined as we have chief judge, which is Jayantha Silva, Secretary to Ministry of Technology, and we have an advisory judging committee. Then we have a head judge and the judging panel. So those are the 4 stages that we are talking about. I'll be showing who are the people who is in the judging advisory committee, as well as the judging panel and the head of judge also being mentioned here. And selection of judging panel will be selected based on the contribution and knowledge/experience in the respective category. An advisory judging committee will be nominating the will be monitoring the scoring and overseeing the deviations, and will be acting as a proxy to chief judge as well, because chief judge is not going to be involved directly, but there has to be a mechanism where he can also have a visibility. So this advisory committee's role is to monitor the scoring, as well as they will be updating the chief judge on the progress. Next is for judging process. The FITIS will provide the web conferencing facility for head judge to convince the panel judges as and when required. Of course, within the judging committee, if you can manage it, we don't have issue. But we would prefer to use one platform so that when there is a discussion, we can have a recording, so that when there is when someone is challenging the process, then we should be able to go through that. Even the advisory committee also can go through that. Therefore, we would prefer to use the FITIS conferencing facility, which is we can provide you Teams meetings, so that the recording will be there. You can access it anytime, and anybody can, with the permission that they should be able to look at it, and that can be stored in our cloud as well. And the stage 2 of judging process, where the applicant expected to convene the remote presentation through the conferencing facility. Right now, when we prepared this document, physical was not possible. So therefore, we made it in such way that this is going to be the virtual conferencing facility. But if we can do it as a physical, but still we are open for that as well. During this judging, each entry will be reviewed and rated by not fewer than 4 judges, who will be approved as a qualified by FITIS award staff, and they will do the judging. So each judging group, I will be showing the people who is part of that. There will be minimum average approximately 7 judges who is there in each judging category. Group, or each category there will be 7 judges. Out of 7, there will be 4. Minimum 4 will be providing the they will reviewing the each application. So minimum 4 has to give their marks in order to proceed further. One of the reasons why we kept it as like that was there can be a situation, there can be a conflict of interest. Maybe the judges also from industry, the solution which is going to be evaluated would have been done by the same organization, or the application itself would have came from their organization. At that time, they have to declare the whatever conflict of interest, and they have to step away. So just to make sure that we do a transparent process. Next one is the very important part. All these entries that we receive an average score at least 70 out of possible 100 when judging is completed, regardless of the category, will be eligible for gold, silver, bronze, or merit awards. So this is common for any category. We have to make sure we maintain the minimum standard. So There can be sometimes no winners for each category or for a single category. But the minimum is 70 out of 100 is required. Then the entries on each category with the highest average score after judging is completed will be considered for a gold award. Then again, we are not setting up the highest score, but it is technically it goes beyond 85. Any entries with the final average score at least 85 will be considered for the silver award. So it shows that until 85 we can consider as a silver award. Any entries with the final average scores at least 75 will be considered for bronze award. Why we say considered? Still they can have the marks, but judges or the advisory committee who will decide whether they actually deserve this. As I mentioned that this is our objective was to make sure the organization who deserved that they will be recognized. The marks is just a benchmark for the to bring in that transparency. And also here we are going to take that bell curve. So accordingly we can adjust it. So on that bell curve, the minimum is 70, above 70 that we can decide whether to award them as a gold, silver, bronze, and the merit award. So the minimum is the 70. So please feel free to ask question if you find it very controversial or anything that you feel that it has to be addressed seriously. You can bring it up. If not, after this we can have a common Q&A session. We can take those questions at that time as well. So veracity of claims made by the entries may be audited, and any entry found to be contain false or misleading information will be disqualified, and all entries will be assessed in accordance with the judging criteria for the category and nomination, which include the completion of the online nomination form and detailed assessment survey questionnaire, where the specific criteria will be required for stage 1 assessment, along with a 7-minute video presentation. That presentation should highlight about whatever the transformative initiative. Now here, the detailed questionnaire and the presentation, those two, now we haven't collected yet. We are planning to send send those communications from Monday onwards. So where the applicant has to submit the response to the detailed questionnaire, the survey, as well as they have to submit the 7-minute video presentation. As judges, that you can go through the application and then the detailed survey questionnaire, and then by looking at the presentation that you can give your marks. Now this detailed questionnaire, how we are defined is we are going to give the marks, 100 marks for that. As the judges can give another set of 100 marks for their evaluation. Then again, the detailed questionnaire, what I mentioned, we will be covering in detail how we are going to assess it. That detailed questionnaire responds, the customer is choosing what is their desired stage. Judges will have a look at whether they are justifying anything. They are not given, they cannot submit any supportive documents, but they can just give a small description in certain type of question. So how and what, we will be covering that part with a sample questionnaire. Based on that, judges can give their marks, and we will be giving the clear instruction guideline. Maybe next within early next week, we will be giving you all the guideline how the marking should be done and all that. So that will contain the marking scheme, and that is for the all the other categories other than the corporate IT awards. Corporate IT awards, they just there is no detailed question here. It's only the application, plus they can submit the video presentation for the 7 minutes video presentation. So the finalist of each categories in stage 1 will depends on the average score that at least 70 or higher. Any organization who is scoring 70 or higher only call for the stage 2. So that is a face-to-face. So this video recording option is given just to make sure nobody should say that we didn't get a chance to present. They have submitted the application form. In that application form, they have clearly specified whatever transformative initiative, those questions, it's well covered to extract the information. And then we are also doing the detailed survey. That tells us, and they have also given the clear answer, plus they have given the justification with the free text field where the brief description can be given how they have achieved it. On top of that, they are given the opportunity to give a presentation, which is a recorded session as well. So that is more than enough for us to, for judges to decide whether they can be considered for the stage 2, where they can be recognized as any of the main category. Then the supporting material will be submitted only during the stage 2 of the face-to-face interview. Then again, you don't need to send those information. You can produce it during the present. If it is face-to-face, of course, you can produce it. Otherwise, you can share that in your screen. In fact, if judges wanted to verify that, they have the freedom to check that as well. But we are not making it mandatory, simply to avoid letting the judges to read through a lot of documents and then spend a lot of time and all that. We want to make sure that part is clearly done by the applicant, and judges should have a clear document to take a decision without any issues and challenges. So provide the required information is the duty of applicant. So judges, if they feel that there is something good that they haven't produced well, or they have produced it very well, but I'm not sure whether actually they have done it or not, then you can scrutinize it and you can ask them to submit the evidences. You have the freedom to do that. Anything, any doubts? Or Tushi, if you're there, if you want to add anything, please add it here, because there are a lot of contents out here. So even if you go back and then again come back, also might take little time. There anything that you would like to edit, please go ahead.
No, Fairuz, I'm okay. Unless there's a question, I'm okay. You explained it very well.
All right. This is the last part of this judging process. Judging is undertaken at a convenience of judges. However, they must complete their assessment within the defined time frame, which will be outlined in the time schedule. Now, since everybody is working from home, most of them, and we're all busy, so we don't want to push you all to come to a place with the time-bound assessments and all that. Yes, it has to be completed within the time frame, but as long as you have synchronized, but each judges can give their own view. They can synchronize. Yes, you can go ahead and do that. But you are given the freedom to do your own judgment and submit your marks, and the head judge will collect those marks. And if there is any discussion required, the head judge will do it within that judging committee itself. And then head judge will submit the responses to the advisory committee, where advisory committee can meet on a particular time and assess those responses given by the head judge. And there can be a common meeting with head judge plus other judges also. And finally, advisory committee will decide, or with the endorsement from advisory committee, the head judge and the respective judging committee will decide who is going to be the shortlisting as well as the winner category as well. This video presentation can be uploaded to any of the common platform, but access should be provided along with the detailed survey. So if the video, you have to make sure that the video can be accessed by the judges, and if there is a user credentials to be shared, you can do that. But please make sure that is can be viewed by the judges without going for a back and forth communication. And each judging panel member should ensure the entries they are going to evaluate are not closely associated, and judges should declare if there are any conflict of interest prior to the judging process. So we don't need to go into detail because every professionals that you have been come across, so I'm sure that you will do that. But the head judge is responsibility to make sure to give the required information or the application to the respective person before he hand over, to make sure there is no conflict of interest with that particular customer. And advisory judges may provide intervention during the judging process for both stages following the FITIS practices. So stage 1 and stage 2, they can intervene anytime during the judging process. An advisory judge will check the shortlisted finalists recommended by the judging panel and they confirm it. So finally, it has to come to the advisory judges, and they also need to confirm that, because the advisory judging committee is kind of proxy to the chief judge. So therefore, the accountability, to maintain the transparency and accountability, we are making this protocol mandatory so that there is a clear visibility for everyone. And finally, the case study, the 8 cases, because we have to, each category, subcategories, we have to identify. It's not winner actually, because this case study is going to be presented at the conclave. But we are going to release the winner during award ceremony. There is a 3 to 4 hours gap between the case study when it is presented and who is going to, the winner is going to be announced. So definitely who is going to be selected for the case study is not the winner. But the advisory committee and the judging committee has to recommend who should be which case can be presented during the conclave. But there's a better suggestion, please, you can propose it, but this is something that we wanted to do it as a unique activity, just to promote. Here, this 2 from each category to be selected to presentation, for the presentation at the conclave by the advisory committee. These cases can be presented by applicant or solution partner. So we are also giving the freedom to recognize the solution partner who helped the transformation journey. So again, it is a debatable option, but this is a new item which is added towards middle of our journey, just to recognize the organization and also give that visibility and other people also to understand how they have transformed. But I'm clearly stating that the case study presentation is not done by the winners, but recommended by the judging committee, advisory committee, as well as judges, that this case could be presented at the award ceremony. That doesn't mean they may not even qualify. But the case that they have picked up, they have not been qualified for some other reason. But the case is superb. It's a very good case to be presented. So why I'm making that blanket statement is just to make sure that we keep that interest till last minute who is going to be the winner. It may be the winner. There's no challenge or issue on that. Finally, any question so far? Because I'm done with the judging process. Any question so far here, or should we reserve the question towards the end of the session?
So the advisory judges will be at the top, right? That's how it is, right? So that's the structure of it. Yeah. Okay.
Yes, that's the structure. Chief judge, advisory judging committee, and then the head judge and the rest of them. I will show you that structure for each category.
Thank you.
Right. This is the timeline we are talking about. Now, 30th September, we have extended till 4th because we anyway had a buffer time to accommodate in case if there is a delay. Of course, it's as anticipated, more than 50% of the application came after 30th only. So therefore, we had that buffer time. We will be showing the detailed questionnaire or survey questionnaire by Monday. And by 15th October, that will be closed. And we'll be sharing those information, the application, as well as the survey questionnaire and the record, including the recording link to the judges to begin their judging process from 19th. This way, we ensure that there is at least one weekend is covered, so that if they are busy during weekdays, so they can cover it up during weekend. I'll show you, I mean, number of applications is not too big because we made it in such way there is a separate group is being allocated for each category, subcategory, so that it reduces the amount of application to be reviewed, but they can put a reasonably good qualitative effort to analyze and give a fair, reasonable judgment rather than letting them go through 20, 30, 40 applications. We made it in such way that there's going to be a maximum of, in the average of 3 to 7 applications, depends on the category that they are fitting into, so that they can do an intense, in-depth study and give a fair judgment for each application that they have. So that's phase 1. Based on the recommendation, the phase 2, which is face-to-face or the one-on-one interview session, this is going to be from 8 to 19 November. Then again, we have covered 1 weekend for that as well. And finally, award ceremony will be on 30th November. This is the agenda for the Digital Excellence Awards, but what I wanted to highlight here, the case study. The case study will be presented during the breakout sessions for each categories. So each major category, we have a breakout session. Under that, there will be a case study. 2 case studies will be presented, and then there will be a panel discussion. Then we will be presenting a white paper on this transformation journey, digital transformation journey white paper, how the organization can look for their transformation. That's where we are going to end the session. So just want to highlight that this is also part of it. Now, here's the advisory judging panel. Like I mentioned before, these are the people who is part of the advisory judging panel: Dr. Prasad Samarasinghe, Professor Leon Dias, Dr. Ramesh Shanmuganathan, Stan Singh from Napita, and Integrity Sosa, Dr. Nalaka Kavaranga, Prashant Rasul, Dushi. And also there are 2 more people to be added, because since we haven't got the confirmation officially, I haven't put the name out here. Otherwise, rest of the people, I mean, there are 2 more to be added. There may be a chance, other one, 2 or maximum 3 can be added here. So that's going to be the advisory judging panel. And for the digital marketing strategy, mainly the name appeared in top is going to be the chief judge, but some category we just put a name until we get, I mean, we are still waiting for some more people to be onboarded. So until such a meeting, but here Jayomi is going to be the head judge, and there are other academias. So we have ensured that there is academic flavor also being added. So as and when possible, we have included one academia as well. We have Professor Bandara Vandinayaka from University of Kelaniya. He's a marketing lecturer from University of Kelaniya. So we included him. And we have Keith Alvis, we have Fatih, we have Sanjini Munavira and Salindra and Vasula Ratnayaka. So they are representing from each segment. Then we have omnichannel experience. It's myself, Surain Kombage, Vajra Jesing, Imdad Najib, and Mark Vigos and Ruan Bakmet. You can put the company in this thing. And there will be another one can be added here as well. For the business model innovation, we have Dushi Tillevasan. He's heading the entire award ceremony. And he's going to be the key person when it comes to judging process, because he's handling the full judging process. And Jahan Mutalif, Isira Pereira, Conrad Dias, Sandun Hapugoda, and Dilan Rajapaksa going to be in the judging panel for the business model innovation. And the connected product and services, Hanta Sirisena, Nuwan Dias, Conrad Dias, Sankar Dharmaratne, Hasita, Danika Pereira are going to be, we can add one more judge here as well. So you can contact me if you have better recommendation. Here also we can add one more person. Please, you can reach me out, or Dushi, or even Shehan, or anyone from PTS. If you think there's the best suit, can be. And customer-centric process automation, we have Nirmala Nagaraja, Asela Pereira from Dialog, and I'm there, and Ratish from BMC Software, and their contribution is huge in terms of setting up the assessment criteria and all. And Prasad Hettiarachi, Francis Fernando, and Prashantan Mahindran. So yeah, we have pretty decent application also. And Agile operation headed by Dr. Danushka Nigawat, Asanga Nugavela, Chaminda Suravira, Mark Vigos, Nuan Lorenzo, and Rumesh Vijayaratne, and Tusita Seranayaka. So again, we ensured that there is at least 4 people outside particular category, so that there is we can have minimum 4 judges to do the evaluation when it comes to their company or their group company. So everywhere we try to have that balance. So maybe if required, we can add 1 more judge from outside, because here we have 3 dialogue, actually 4 representing dialogue group. So therefore we have to bring in the balance that we can add 1 more judge here as well. Then the connected partner ecosystem, Irfan Ahmad, Chanda De Silva, and Chandana Ranasinghe, and Varuna Jayalath, Deepala Kuret, and Sanjay Dayananda. And we can add one or two here as well, because this is a vast area to be covered. And we have workforce enablement, again, Sanjay Dayananda, Millennium IT, and Danusha Muthukumana Potenza, and Mohan Fernando, and Rohan Buljain, and Calvin, and then the Bani Chandrasekharan, as well as we can add another judge here as well. Altogether, this is for the Born Digital organization. So Born Digital organization, we have Dushi, again, Dushi Tillevasan, Tushara Vijayavardhana Aventur, and Zulfa Jeffrey, and Isira Pereira, Jayamal Jayavira, Bimal Pereira, and Dr. Nalaka Vikramasika, who is looking after that. And finally, the Corporate IT Awards. And again, we have the larger team who's looking after the Corporate IT Awards as well. So that's all I want to cover in terms of judging process and categories, as well as how we handle the process. And we can also cover a sample application, but before that, I would like to call Dr. Danushka Megawat to show us how the evaluation is being done for the Agile operation as one category. Then thereafter, Dushi will take over and show us how the judging process can be done for the categories, and also he will fill whatever gaps that which came out. And it's open for question. Please raise your question even while the presentation is going on, because that's important for us to also to make any changes if you think that has to be done. Thank you. And may I invite Dr. Danushka to show us the Agile operation, how he has done the questionnaire, as well as the marking scheme and judging process can happen. Then that would give a clear idea for the other judges, because we have been spending a lot of time on that. And finally, we came up with this model. So since most of the judges are just being onboarded, so I think it's better to give a clear visibility on how we have been done and how we are going to assess the document, and how the questionnaires are going to be sent, the detailed questionnaire, and how the marking can be done. Dr. Danushka, it's all to you.
Hi, thanks, Fairuz. Can everybody see my screen?
Yes.
Hi.
Yeah.
Okay. So hi everyone. Morning. I'm just going to quickly run through this. Please kind of feel free to ask questions or comment as we go along. So very quickly, this is where we kind of started the kind of thinking for the Agile operations side. The Agile operations is essentially structured along these 4 kind of themes: the structure, people, tech, and process. And what we tried to do was look at an organization in these kind of broad states of transformation. So the leftmost being I haven't started yet, really, and the rightmost being I'm kind of there. So this was the initial kind of matrix that we put out at the beginning of the briefings. And what we've then done is we've gone into detailed questioning along those 4 themes. So this is just a screenshot of the structure category. And what it is it's essentially broken into 4 sections. We have the primary question that we are asking. We have a description that's aimed at really setting the scene. So when the applicant is reading it, they kind of get where we are coming from. And then we give them a series of answers that they can pick the one that mostly suits what where they are at the moment. And finally, we do actually ask for some sort of evidence of supporting material. So it could be screenshots, it could be a kind of a list of tools. In this particular case, it could be tools that they're using, and so on. So it kind of backs what they are picking from the answers. So that's kind of very simply that's what we're kind of asking from them. And then what happens is we have a scoring template. So if you think kind of the first one being the least in this particular case is about agile operations. So number 1 being they haven't really started, they're very traditional. They would essentially get kind of 0 points. And if they are the other extreme end of the spectrum, they would get full points for this particular question. So that's how the scoring kind of approach that we were going to take comes around from. And the information that we ask from them would obviously need to support their answer. So then we do a kind of a quick sanity check to make sure that it all adds up to the right number. So yeah, so that's us very quickly. Any questions, any clarifications? Fairuz, anything to add?
This is Ramesh here. So aren't we measuring business outcomes when we are talking about agile operations, or are we just looking at methodology only?
It's the actual process and the organization part. Business outcomes, I think, probably covers in a different category. We are really trying to understand how what should I say, how the process and the implementation of agile is in this category.
So this will be mostly because my question is it mostly for IT organizations, or are we targeting any organization?
Any organization, Ramesh.
Ramesh, just to add here, for these categories, the agile operation or any of the subcategories are not applicable for the IT organization, because if you put it to the IT organization, they are anyway going to win it. So we want to assess the user part of it. We are the enterprises who is adopting this technology.
That is what I'm, so most likely, I think this will be most.
You're losing your voice, Ramesh, I think.
Yeah, so I think my question was then if we are, I don't know whether we'll have enough people competing in this category unless we also relate it to a business outcome, no, to an extent. Otherwise, it will be more like IT shops processes, right? Because today I don't think.
Yeah, Ramesh, just to add, now that detailed survey questionnaire will identify certain areas, but when it comes to judging process, the overall judging process that Dr. Dhanushka has mentioned here, it covers overall. So the judge, there is a questionnaire given. I mean, the application itself covered certain areas, but the detailed questionnaire will cover overall. But whatever the missing components, we don't want to complicate, because we, as you know, that we are also doing it first time. So that will be covered during the face-to-face interview. But definitely we will incorporate whatever the suggestions coming up for the next time. Definitely those things will be considered as a full scale of assessment. Right now, we don't want to just claim that we are doing 100% perfect assessment through this survey. So the survey and the stage 1, stage 2 are put together. We are going to see that overall what we wanted to see.
Okay. Thanks.
Sure. Any more clarifications, anyone? I think I have no more slides and anything if you can talk about this, but otherwise I think we're done.
Thanks, Dr. Dhanush.
Okay, thanks, Fairuz.
So, Dushi, would you like to cover
can you
your
let
area?
me- Yeah, can you let me share my screen, Feroz? So what I'll do is I'll take you through. So since Dr. Dhanusha, actually I didn't prepare a presentation. What I actually wanted to do was I'll show you the actual question, the actual questionnaire for the business model innovation, and I also will show you the actual questionnaire for born digital or digitally matured organization, so that I can walk you through how we have structured it. Then you will get an idea. So. So, Feroz, this is so now you are looking at the questionnaire. What questionnaire that we have prepared for the business model innovation, and all the questionnaires will look in this format. So what we try to maintain a uniformity. So we'll first give what we are looking at in that area. So in this case, we'll talk about business model innovation, and we talk about how we will do the assessment, and then we have the questions with a Likert scale to answer. So this is only an example, because some questionnaires may have a different scale other than a Likert scale. I'll show you that example. And like Dr. Dhanusha said, there is a scoring mechanism which we will share with all the judges. So you will have the exact details of how the scoring is done. So this is a sample questionnaire I'm showing you from business model innovation. So I'm not going to go into details how we have assessed, because that's something that once you get the assessment criteria from us, if you have questions, of course we'll be more than willing to help answer all the clarifications. The other one I wanted to show is, so this is for you to understand that the questionnaires are going to be different. Am I showing the same questionnaire, or is it different? I hope you can see my screen. So this is a questionnaire that we are going to use for the born digital organization or for the digitally matured organization. As you can see, this questionnaire has we will give a detail of what's the question we are asking, and then there are it's very similar to it's similar to the earlier one, but of course this is different. The way we assess a born digital organization or a digitally matured organization is quite different from the model the model that we use to assess the transformation process, the 4-stage model. So this questionnaire is quite different. I want you to experience the change here. Even though we give a description for each question, the way this questionnaire will be ranked is quite different. We'll give you the details for whoever who's in that category. We'll send you the details, and I can actually explain that's how this ranking is done, right? So that is this is what I wanted to actually share. On a different note, in terms of business outcomes, as Ramesh asked earlier, Feroz is right. We are actually combining it in stage 2, and also what we really wanted to see here is the transformation process, the transformation journey. So the outcome should be visible in terms of business, because that should be felt by the applicant themselves. So this is my opinion. So yeah, so that's it, Feroz. And unless anybody else have a question.
Hi, Feroz. I have one question. Just want to kind of find out if an applicant has applied, say for example, born digital organization, but the judges feel that also applicable for another omni-channel or some other category. How does that swap happens, or is it also being judged under a different category too, or we just keep to what the applicant originally applied?
Yeah, we have to keep it to what applicant has originally applied, because they have been given the clear instruction. Also, the website also contained every judging criteria and all that. Number 2, we are giving them the detailed questionnaire that has been answered. For those questionnaires are different, each category, there will be a separate set of questionnaire. More or less, we can say there's no overlap also. There can be 5 to 10% overlaps, but it's completely different when you look at digital marketing strategy or omnichannel experience or born digital or any category. There is no common thing that we have followed, because every category it has its own word. So we won't be able to transfer that application to another category, even if they find it. They can probably apply next year. So next award, definitely we will be starting too early itself, because this year it has been dragged due to the COVID situation. So possibly they can apply for the next year. We may not be able to transfer that application.
Okay, thank you.
Fairuz, this is Dylan. Something related to what Jeremy asked. I'm like, as judges, are we supposed to check their eligibility in that particular category, or can we assume that they're already eligible? I'm like, in the sense, like, is there a criteria which they need to meet when they apply for a particular category? And is it been already assessed, or are we supposed to assess that as well?
We are taking the self-assessment approach mostly. So they themselves, I mean, all the criteria are being given, how they are going to be assessed, what are the areas the judges are going to look at. Everything is given. It is open document. And we have done several awareness sessions also. Each session is being recorded, that also been given. And what will be assessed, every single point has been given. So it is a self-assessment. Anyone who is coming in with understanding, yes, they have read it, they have gone through it, they know what is assessment criteria, and they probably know which award they are going to win it also. Because if they can fit into any of those categories, the criteria that we have mentioned, if they feel that, yes, we are doing on top, so probably they know that we are going to win it, because it is not something that it is a competition, but rather it says that whatever achievement that they made is going to be recognized. So above 70, if they can score in, they are going to be one of the winners. Then again, we have a limitation of maximum the 4 awards, but maximum of 5 awards can be given. But still, we have I mean, I'm just going extra mile for beyond what you ask also. Anyone who is scoring over 70, they will be recognized. At least a certificate will be issued to them. But the 4 awards can be given. So they knew, to answer your question, they knew that it is not something that we are going to disqualify them. It is a more or less a self-assessment process. They knew that this is the category, this is the scoring mechanism, and accordingly they know that they are going to win it or not. If they are not going to cross 70 marks, it's a disqualification. Yes, from judging point of view, how are you going to disqualify them? If they are not crossing 70 marks, they are disqualified. They are out of the competition.
Okay, thank you.
But Fairuz, how can we verify whether they have declared the truth, whether they have disclosed the correct information, or is there?
Yes, that's what the stage 2 supposed to do.
Okay.
Stage 1 for the corporate IT awards, we don't have a detailed questionnaire being sent to them. Therefore, whatever information provided by them plus the video recording, based on that, you are going to give the marks, and then accordingly they will be given the opportunity whether if they are crossing over 70, they will be called for a phase-2 interview. During that face-to-face interview, you are going to scrutinize. The judge is going to scrutinize, and if you want to check, they have to produce the evidences, whatever information that you need to check. You have the freedom to check that as well. So there's no more questions. Shall we wind up? So we will send you the guide as well as the application. Of course, it will be sent after 15. But the judge's guide and also this recording of this presentation, plus the scoring, whatever discussion points that we discussed, we'll send it across to you. And please block your calendar accordingly, and we'll send you all the dates and all that in the email itself, so that it's easy for you to block your calendars.
Fairuz, can I make a clarification before we wind up?
Sure. Now, in the case of case studies, which will be presented at the conclave, are a part of the judging process, or how do you have you considered that as a part of, or is just completely an outside the process of selecting them? It is a completely outside the process of selecting them. You can give a recommendation from whatever application that you are evaluating, and you can. But then again, it is given to the particular 8 categories, the 4 main categories and the subcategories. So within that, we can you can send a recommendation. Finally, the advisory committee with the discussion with the advisory committee, that we can take a call that who should be nominated. Why I asked the question was generally what happens in a normal circumstance. Any case study that will be presented at a conclave or maybe a conference would expect some kind of an accolade. They think it's probably the the best cases that will be presented. Now here in this case, I think it may not be the company or an applicant who would have probably been selected for an award, but otherwise. So can there be some kind of a dissonance if it is part of, if you bring that into the judging process itself? That's a good suggestion, but
so
then
Feroz,
again,
can I answer that? Feroz, can I answer
yes.
that?
Yes.
So the fundamental reason, so the case study, so why we want to do a case study is actually if there is a lesson to be learned by others. That's the fundamental premise. So generally, if the judges feel that there is something that can be learned in the applications, and that's what the best case that we want to select. But as you said, if the case has to be the winner, that's fine, right?
Yeah, only challenge is to see that if we bring in the winner, so that means the winner is already disclosed. So there's nothing much to disclose.
But the winner doesn't know it,
the awards,
right?
That's the winner. I suppose we still can maintain it. It's just that what I'm saying is, if you keep it completely outside of this judging process, then it's a separate verification and an evaluation process that would apply, so that there won't be any questions or clarifications or any dissonance created because it's a separate thing. And then you perhaps eminent panel or maybe your the particular set of people would select these cases for presentation purposes. If that sounds no, it is right. I mean, even if you do it completely outside that, it can be taken as a favoring one party, even though they are not winner also, because people might think that way as well. But your point is well taken. I think, shall we have a discussion on that, because there is something which came up as an addition to whatever our initial plan. Let us have a discussion on that and finally take a call. But as you suggested, I mean, that if there is no issue selecting the winner, of course, more or less it's going to be winner only. But we don't want to brand it as a winner. Then we are disclosing who is the winner before the award ceremony. Sure, that's the only concern. So more or less, we want to choose the winner, the best one. The moment we brand it, then it is the results is open before the award ceremony.
Thank you, Feroz. Yes, thank you very much once again, ladies and gentlemen, for joining with us, especially during the weekend, as Feroz said. So hope you got a brief idea of what we are looking at. The recording as well as the detailed slides and presentations will be shared with you by Monday. So looking forward to an exciting journey with everyone. They have quite a good response for the number, and we got quite a number of organizations applying for the different categories. So, yep. So we'll keep in touch with you. Take care and stay safe.